Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum everyone. Good morning. I hope that you all are fine and doing well. So we are joined by 14 students today, and Nafi, you will mark absent everyone who will be joining after 8:40. Okay, and you will send me the list personally, and then I will also send the list in the group as well. Okay, so this is your duty. Anyone who comes after 8:40 will be marked as absent. Okay, can you please tell me what we have discussed in the previous class? Anyone?
Assalamualaikum, sir.
Apologies, now. Please go
We
ahead.
have talked about the comedy of manners and its brief introduction and characteristics of that genre.
Okay, yeah. So in today's lecture, we will be just going through quickly from a brief history of the comedy of manners related to the plays that we are going to discuss, and then the one play that we have to start, that is the importance of being earnest by Oscar Wilde, an Irish writer. So we are going to start that play, but before that, I just need to share some of the characteristics of the age. So let me share my screen with you people so you can see. Okay, so it is an introduction to comedy of manners as literary genre. Um, what we have here, yeah. So what is the definition, what are the meanings, and what are, you can say, in economy of the verse, the summary of the whole play. We will also be discussing the major characters or all the characters of the play, what this play is all about, how this actually came into being, what were the inspirations of the Victorian uh, comedy of manners. So first of all, we just need to look at the definition that we can easily understand in the economy of the verse, that comedy is a play with happy ending and aims at making people laugh at certain follies, vanities, hypocrisies, and weaknesses of people for reforming society. So, what is the best thing that we need to know about comedy of manners? That it is not merely a critique of the society, critique of the elite classes specifically, rather, it changes the society or the mode of the society entirely. Because comedy of manners is not all about to criticize the people, rather, it is also about reforming the societies to, constructively change the society. So, this is a kind of, you can say, positive behavior, positive attitude to reform the society or to change the society from the evil vices to righteousness. So, this is the first purpose of comedy of manner. We do not only discuss the follies of the elite class, the nonsensical actions and the attitudes of the elite class, the hypocrisies or the dualities of the elite classes, the weaknesses of the elite classes, the moral conduct of the elite classes, the immorality of the elite classes, the vain etiquettes of the elite classes, then the lust for self consciousness, status consciousness, and the wealth. No, these are not the only things we are discussing, rather, they are the part of this. But the thing is, after doing this or after discussing these things, we are the dramatists and the playwrights, they are actually bringing them on the track, because the primary purpose of comedy of manner is to reform the society, to reform the people, whether those people are from the poor classes, from the middle classes, or from the elite classes. But the specific class that is discussed in this genre of comedy of manners is elite class, because elite class in the Victorian age or before the Victorian age, belonging to the age of restoration, so they were indulged in different vices, they were indulged in different uh, in corruptions, in, in different immoralities, in different, I would say, wrongdoings. That is the reason that the writers, the playwrights, the dramatists, the novelists, the poets, they just wanted to drag the attention of the people towards this serious issue. So that is the reason the comedy of manner was, I would say, that was introduced in the Restoration period, and after that in the Victorian age. We'll also be talking about the Restoration uh, comedy of manner and the Victorian comedy of manner. They are not new subjects for the societies. But in the ancient times, we'll be discussing that how in the old times, the comedy of manner, especially the comedies, were actually introduced, and what was the purpose of introducing those comedies at that time, and how the comedy of manner then, as a separate genre, as a new genre, developed from the ashes of the old comedies. Okay, so what are the main subjects? It talks about the follies, the nonsensicalities. It talks about the vanities, about the grace, about the disgrace. It talks about the hypocrisies. It talks about that how the dual nature they have. Inward nature is different from the outward nature. Outlooks are totally different from the inlooks, and the weaknesses of people. So people are weakened not in power. People are weakened not in their statuses, but they are weakened in their moralities, they are weakened in their actions, and this is another subject for this. And by doing and by discussing all these things, is the purpose is actually of the playwright to reform the society, to change the society, and this is what comedy of manner is all about. Then comedy of manners is a comedy that deals with the behavior and manners of people as well. Okay, it means that the behaviors, the interactions of the people with one another, the behaviors, and then the manners, how to sit, how to stand, how to eat, how to wear, how to walk, how to go outside, how to meet the people, how to set your caps, how to set your flares, like everything, every single detail, I would say that is given in the plays or relate. It is also discussed of the elite class, specifically with everything, with every manner, with etiquettes. What are the words that you must use, and what are the words that you must avoid? What language, if there is some obscene language, you must not use that. If there is some, I would say that anything that is not related to the class, related to the standard, related to the style, so uh, that is considered as inappropriate. So we see that how the things go in this age or in this era. So a manner is the method. One thing that you need to know, that you see that in our society or in every society, we do not talk about the manners of or the etiquettes of the poor people or the middle class people, because we know that we have many other subjects to talk about. We have many other things to talk about, because they are poor people, so we can talk about the poverty. They have different crises, so we can talk about those crises as well. But the elite class, They do not have such crisis. Just a minute, I'm just having a call. Okay, just give me 1 minute, please. Okay, just give me 2 minutes. I have to just send an email. So at that time you can discuss with one another. Okay, so just give me 2 minutes. Okay, so we were discussing that how they had the lacks in different areas or different sections of life, specifically of the Victorian era, in the Victorian era, and then the manner is the method in which everyday duties are performed, conditions of society, or a way of speaking. So now, one thing, another one important thing is that the playwrights, they are very active in taking the daily lifestyle of the people of the elite class, so that the audience and the readers may look into their personal lives, may look into uh, their actions and their duties, and what they are doing on a daily basis. So it is actually a detailed picture of the Victorian elite society that is actually given in every single play of Comedy of Manner, so that the people may look deep into the lives of the elite people or the elite classes. So that is the reason actually to give the detailed overview, not overview, I would say, detailed information about the lives, about the duties, about the manners, about the etiquettes, about the customs and traditions of the elite classes. And then introduction, a comedy of manners usually employs an equal amount of both satire and farce resulting in a hilarious stand-up of a particular social group. So you already know that the comedy of manner usually employs an equal amount of both satire that is actually a, a constructive form of criticism, and this constructive form of criticism is all the time appreciated because you know that writers, they are not biased with any class. They are not biased. They are not taking the sides of the middle classes. They are not taking the sides of the elite classes. They are not taking the sides of even though the elite classes or the royal classes as well. Like they are most of the time they are biased, unbiased, and you know that satire is also to criticize someone, but for the betterment of the society. And this is another good thing. Then the farce is also a, I would say, uh, another style of humor that is marked with the broad improbabilities. Okay, this is also the purpose of farce is also actually to to construct the society in a positive way, in a positive manner. And then both of these, they are resulting in a hilarious stand-up. It means stand-up means that they are working to function the society, to I would say to construct the society, a better society for the particular social groups or for everyone around here. So these are basically their purposes by doing satire and farce on those classes, just not to only mock the people, but to have the positive outcomes from them. Then the most plays of the genre were carefully constructed to satirize the very people watching them. Then this was usually the middle to upper classes in society, who were normally the one only people wealthy enough to afford going to the theaters to see a comedy of manners in the first place. You know that even though the cunningness, rather this word is negative, I would say that smartness, this is also a negative word. So the smartness of the writers is actually that they have introduced this comedy of manners for the elite class for a purpose because they were the people who used to visit theaters. You know that the poor people and the middle class people, the working classes, they do not visit the theaters with the same interest or with the same passion because they do not have enough time to enjoy such veins. On the other side, if they are going to theaters, so the performances, the stage performances that were actually being played over there, they were based on the subjects of or about them, about the people who actually come to see those performances. And then it was an easy task for the writers to mirror their follies, to mirror their weaknesses. So, like you see that the writers are mirroring the elite classes, they are mirroring their actions on the stage so that they may see that what is going on in their lives and what they are after. And they are not, I would say that enough, they are not foolish in this sense that they could not understand that what is actually being staged on and what is their lives about. So it means that they can have a comparison of their lives and on the stage of the stage performances, and then they can or they may learn something about this. So this was, you can say, that type of stage performance. And then the playwrights knew this in advance and fully intended to create characters that were sending up the daily customs of those in the audience watching the play. The satire tended to focus on their materialistic nature, never ending desire to gossip, and hypocritical existence. So, what was the major focus of introducing those characters that are the characters and the representatives of the elite classes? And on the other side, what are the daily customs of those in the on the audience who are watching the play as well? Then the satire tended to focus on their materialistic natures. Like materialistic natures includes wealth, then money matters. It includes their power, their status consciousness, their class consciousness. Then the never-ending desires to gossip. So they are all the time gossiping and gossiping about, they are discussing their personal matters, they are discussing other people's personal matters, and they never stop talking. They are all the time talking and gossiping. And then the hypocritical existence. So you already know that when you speak one lie, so you have to speak 100 lies to cover that one lie. So that is the hypocritical existence and nature of the elite classes at that time. So they have to hide one lie with 100 lies, and then they were totally and entirely changed. And this was another immoral or hypocritical existence of the elite class. You know that all these things that we are discussing, uh, they will be found in the play as well, in every single play as well. So you just need to keep all this type of information in your mind, all the details in your mind, all the the manners and the etiquettes and the behaviors of the characters in your mind. So it will facilitate you to understand every single line, because apparently when you will be going through the texts of the comedy of manners, you will see that the text is very simple and we cannot see anything that is argumentable, that is debatable. And you will be then looking that, okay, what to criticize and how to understand in a better way. So then you will be understanding, if you just understand the context and the background in a real sense, then you will be applying every single or little detail on the text, on every single line of the text, and then you will be constructing the meanings. You will be constructing the meanings out of those simple lines. Otherwise, you know that difficult words, difficult lines, difficult texts, they have more interpretations instead of the simple texts, because simple text just gives you a one type of meaning or one side of understanding. But the difficult texts, they give you more and more interpretive meanings, understandings of the text. So you see that this text will be completely or entirely simple, and this will be creating a problem for you to interpret the text more than, I would say, 3 or 4 angles. Because if the meanings are already clear, then you will not be applying, you will not be interpreting that text with 3 or 4 times with different aspects and different angles. So that is the reason that I'm asking you to write every single detail related to the background, related to the understanding of this particular section of the class. Then the comedy of manners is well suited to expose the superficial values of the upper class society. And you know, superficial values, as I've already told, that they have to, if they speak one lie, so they have to speak 100 lies to cover that one lie. So these are the superficial values. They are not real in their senses. They are not real inwardly. Rather, they are actually creating uh, superficial environments. They are taking all the times, I would say that assistance of the lies, assistance of the deceit, assistance of the deceptions, just to make themselves superior to the other people. Then the hypocrisies of this class are satirizing by exposing their behavior. So hypocrisies are satirized by exposing their behaviors, their talking style, and all the other things. Okay, so now you see that here we have a reference towards the restoration comedy, because in the restoration comedy we have Veshalle, we have Congreve, we have many other writers as well. So what was he just? gives a comparison, a light comparison to the Restoration comedy and to the Victorian comedy. We are studying Victorian comedy right now. So we just need to understand that what was the Restoration comedy about. Restoration, as you already know about the Restoration age, that Restoration comedy of manners exposes the issues of adultery, the sexual involvement or the indulgence, and with consent or without consent. That was the first. Then the fortune hunting and commercialization of love and marriage. So that comedy was also about the commercialization of love and marriage. As you can see, the commercialization of love and marriage in the time of Shakespeare, where he actually took Romeo and Juliet, and he talked about the love affairs, the love matter. So this is the commercialization of love and matter. If someone does not know anything about love or this thing, so that person will also get involved into this matter. And this is also the case of today's world. Like we are unaware from such things and such, but even though you know that the films, the novel, the movies, and all these things, they make us to do so even though if we are not, because your mind is prepared, your mind is made, and you are then. So this was the commercialization of love and marriage, because if the love is commercialized, if marriage is commercialized, if it is talked about publicly, if it is commercialized publicly, then everyone will do the same. You know that this is how, this is the, I would say that, the modern phenomenon of the society. You may have remembered that when there was a first case of child abuse a decade before, and then when that child abuse event was actually commercialized on TV and different at different social media channels, and what you have seen, what you have observed at that time, that after sometimes, after 1 week or after 2 weeks, the cases of child abuses, they were actually enhanced. They were enhanced because the people got the idea what to do so. So it means that the commercialization of everything is not good, because sometimes it will give you a negative impact, a negative outcome as well. So the characters do not take love and marriages as sacred, because when this will be be the thing, then they will not consider the commercialization of love and marriage will not be considered as holy act, as a sacred act. And you can also see, because I'm just comparing, not I'm not criticizing, actually I'm just comparing the old world of an old world and the new world. And you see that nowadays everyone is prone towards not the religious marriages, but everyone is prone towards the marriages that are actually having the social and cultural importance more than the religion. Like we know that we are just giving a nikah ceremony only 5 to 10 minutes, only 5 to 10 minutes. And even though whenever we have to just lift our hands to say prayers for the groom, for the bridegroom, and what we are thinking at that time, oh please end it out, bas karo. It means that you, even though not listening properly to the Molvi at that time, at the time of Nikah, because you are just busy in gossipings, in talkings. It means that you are just giving your 5 to 10 minutes, not properly 5 to 10 minutes to Nikah ceremony. Otherwise, like you are busy in all the other ceremonies of that marriage, and you feel so that okay, these are important, so nikah can be done, it can be done without any celebration or without anything, and you are then quiet enough. So it means that the commercialization of love and marriage, it will also produce different conflicts, different clashes for the people, for the upcoming people as well. And that is the case that the characters do not take love and marriage as sacred, and that is the reason also of today's society, of today's world, but as more of a mercenary venture. So this means that they are actually exposing, and they are talking about their pomposity. They are talking about that how much wealthy they are, how much they belong to a status or status conscious they are. So they are not actually considering them as a sacred act of, I would say, that life. Rather, that is considered to be a only a superficial act of life. This genre gives us insights into the then restoration upper classes or upper society. So what restoration comedy is all about? Let's take a recap. It is all about the issues of adultery. You might have known about the Scarlet Letter. The Scarlet Letter was all about the main character, and she was named as Hester Prynne. So Hester Prynne was, I think that it was written by Harriet Beecher Stowe, an American novelist. So Hester Prynne, she has committed, because that novel talks about the adultery in the era or in the age of Restoration. Hester Prynne, she has to wear like a necklace an alphabet A with red color, because scarlet means red. So that she has to wear that scarlet letter A, that red letter A, all the time around her neck. And whenever she is going in the crowd, she's going through the streets, so she has to wear all the time that letter A on her neck. And so the people, they may see that what is actually, what happens uh, to the person who commits adultery, who commits such a sin. And then you know that Hester Prime, she is all the time feeling inferior. She was all the time feeling disgust by the society, because the people were spitting on the face of Hester Prime, because of the adultery she has committed. And no one was actually blaming the man who has actually done this. But you know that this was the strict Puritan beliefs, about the strict Puritan beliefs and orders about the society or about the people and their lives. So it means that the Restoration comedy was all about the issues of adultery at that time, the love and the marriages. So this was the Restoration comedy. That is something different, because that was a sharp critique, I would say, the pointy critique, I would say. But now that that sharpness of the critique is not anymore in the Victorian era, but it is still there. Okay, then comedy of manners has spread itself over several periods in theater history. A theoretical genre can begin in a certain era but span many periods. Okay, so let's just leave this, and I will just go. Okay, this is also about the history of the Restoration comedy, in which you know that after 1660, when King Charles, he was restored on the throne of England, when, because he was living his life in exilement in France, and then he brought some of the, I would say, literary style, some of the vices with him, and his wife was also French. Okay, his wife was also French. So it means that he introduced that style of lechery, that style of lust and adultery in his age, and people just kept on focusing on the ideas of that he has brought from the French. And then at that time, the society was also till his death on 1685. So he has also introduced some of the customs, some of the traditions, some of the immoral traditions and customs in the England soon after the Puritan age. Those are also discussed in the plays. And what are those playwrights? You may also see in the fourth section. The major contributors to the genre in England at that time were William Wycherley with his play The Country Life, and William Congreve with The Way of the World. So these are the two important and representative writers of the Restoration comedy, comedy of manners, and we see that they are the inspiration for the later comedy of writers as well, belonging to Victorian era. Okay, so now we are just moving further. Yes, now this is, so we are done almost with the background, and we have just skipped a part that is all about the Restoration comedy, about the villain, about the Congreve, about the Vishali. So you can read of your own. And now we are just going to discuss the importance of being earnest as comedy of manners. That what makes the importance of being earnest, a play by Oscar Wilde, is comedy of manners. That what are the ingredients it has, what are the components, what are the lines, what are the actions that we call this play as a comedy of manners. So we will be discussing some of the features and characteristics of this play. Okay, so it is said that Oscar Wilde's plays are apparently light-hearted. So they are not as strong critique as of the Restoration comedy of manners. It is light-hearted. So the people can listen. But at that time, people, even though cannot listen, they cannot pay focus on this thing because that is a sharp type of satire. So are apparently light-hearted when, but they contain strong elements of serious feeling in their attack on a society whose core is intolerant, but whose intolerance is hypocritical. So what is all about that the code of intolerance? First of all, we see that the society, the elite society, they do not have a flexible tolerance of of bearing other people's behavior, other people's you can say comments and remarks about their lives and about. They are all the time in a mood to talk about themselves, to talk about their consciousness, to talk about their wealth. So this is their mood. They have zero tolerance, I would say. So importance of being earnest is definitely a play in which Oscar Wilde shows the hypocrisy of Victorian society. So it is all about the Victorian society, and Victorian society started from 1837 to and it ended on 1901. Okay, with the I would say that death of Queen Victoria. So she actually ascended the throne on 1937, and after that, she was born on 1837. So that is the start of the Victorian era, and in Victorian era, she, like the Queen Victoria, she gave enough leverage, enough relaxation to the women at that time. She gave the power to the women. She gave the power to the society. She because she was I would say the feminist. She was the advocate of the feminist campaign at that time. So she gave the power, leverage, relaxation in the rights of female. She gave the power to them. She gave the dresses sense to them. So it means that she was a queen who actually stood in the favor of the female rights or in the female favoritism at that time. So it was all about the hypocrisy of the Victorian society. Sometimes you know that there are some people in any age, like in this age too, that they cannot be the same as the elite classes of today's. But what they can do, they are actually the imposters. If they are not good in their wealth and in their statuses, but they are good in their imposting or copying the culture of the elite classes or the trend of the elite classes. You see that we feel ourselves that we must, like we feel ourselves that we must be copying them, we must be imposting them, we must be imitating their culture, their language, their style, and we do that. Certainly, we do that. Everyone in the society, we do that. Like if the elite people they dress like as they do, so we try to follow them. If they speak, we try to follow that speak. If they actually celebrating their cultural activities in their own ways, so we also try to copy and imposter those cultural activities and actions also. And this is not new in our society only. This was also in the Victorian, it was also in the Shakespearean, and all of the other ages also, because they have to do so. And what were people doing just to achieve or to just to meet the criterion of the elite people's standard? That criterion was actually uh, not all the time met, but they have to do one thing. They were taking the assistance of lies, they were taking the assistance of hypocrisy, they were changing their natures, they were changing their names, they were changing their statuses and designations. As you can find that Jack Worthing, the protagonist of the play. Jack Worthing is the name. Jack is the name is in the countryside, in the village. But when he comes to the city, London, so his name is actually Jack Ernest. Ernest. So he uses the name Ernest. So it means that he was also, and when the people around him felt so that okay, his name is Ernest, it means that he belongs to elite class. He belongs to, because Ernest is defined with two or three meanings. First of all, earnest means uh, gravity, seriousness. Then the earnest means also a kind of, you can say, a status, the name of the elite class, the name of, I would say that this is a symbol to distinguish yourself from the other poor classes. So Jack is actually considering his name as Ernest in the city, in the London city, so that he may be accepted by the elite people, because they think so that okay, yes, he has the name of Ernest, and must be wealthy. He must be have 100,000 acres of lands. So that is the reason the name actually they are changing their names just to be accepted by the elite people or elite classes. And then the importance of being honest is definitely the Victorian society. So the writer in Hidden Meanings tries to show the absurd behavior of upper class people of those era. So now those are the absurd behaviors. What are those absurd behaviors? The people are not in the real sense as they show themselves they are. And there are a lot of dialogues and examples which shows clearly the idea behind writing this drama. Okay, so they talk about the absurd behaviors, they talk about the hypocrisies of the people, and vice versa. Importance of being earnest is a remarkable example of this kind of play in which the writer using the technique of satire reveals the social norms of the society. As you know that the primary purpose of literature is also to reform the society, and to do this, different writers use, not uses, this is a typo. Different writers use different techniques. Oscar Wilde is master in using these techniques, so the writer has chosen the technique of satire to reform the society and to unhide the hypocrisy of Victorian society. So you know that in every age, in every society, people have used different genres of literature, different forms of literature, so to reform the society. You know that what is the sole purpose of a writer or of a poet? They are the representative of the society. They will tell you about what actions you are performing in a society, how you must react, how you must work, how you must be an uh, an active agent of the society. So they are the representative all the time, and they tell you what to do. They tell you what to do in different ways, with different, I would say, mediums. Old writers, they have told you this with the comedies simply. Some people they have told you like in Oedipus Rex, they have told you not to disobey the gods in the tragedy, and you did so. And on the other side, in poetry, sorry, in the work of Othello by Shakespeare, he has told us uh, not to consider your wife as disloyal or unchaste. Just someone is asking you to do so, and then you just kill your wife just on the consideration of someone else. It means that all the writings, rather they are tragedies, rather they're comedies, whether they are the poetry, they tell you something, not to do this, not to do that, because they are actually asking you uh, to construct the society in they ask you to construct the society in their own ways, because they are the representative and they know more about society than you. And then we see that satire is also another technique that also does the same, but with a different language, with a different technique. But the purpose is also to construct uh, for the betterment of the society. Then, as we know that the primary purpose, okay, so the writer has chosen the technique, okay, it is also done. So it is all about the reformation, okay, the reformation of the society. Society is reformed with the techniques of different genres of literature. So this is the sole purpose of the writer. By making a mockery of the Victorian ideals, while threw a satirical spotlight on the Victorian age as a whole, the Victorian society fell in a passionate love with the idea of earnestness. So this is the word that you will be having. I would say that your focus must be on this. Your spotlight must be on this word, earnestness. The idea of living in earnest manner was the topmost ideas of the Victorian society. Like so, everyone wants to become earnest, because earnest has become a trend, a topmost trend in the Victorian society, and everyone wants to become earnest, because with this name, it feels that you are not a common human being anymore, but you are someone who's actually I would say wealthy, who is actually I would say that landlord, millionaire, and belonging to a high class and elite class. So this is what this word earnest carries the meaning. The society was so attached to the fake ideals of earnestness that it was ready to pay any price for it. So, like the people were indulged, people were involved with the idea or with this word of earnestness, that they were ready to pay any type of price for it. Like even though they can speak hundred and thousand lies just to maintain their status, just to be good in the eyes of the people, and they can do everything, even though they can also sacrifice their families. They do not care about their parents, their aunts, their cousins. No, rather they are only care about the status that they have. So this was the level of being earnestness. The frenzied and frantic thrust towards the ideal pressurized the individual to live a double life. So this was the idea, the to be being earnest, to live a double life, because you are forced to live a double life, because when you have to hide your original personality, your real self in front of the people, then you have to speak lie. You have to be dual in that sense. You cannot hide then, because then you have to present yourself that you are earnest, but real in the real sense you are someone else. So that is the reason that you are forced to live a double life. People became double dealers in an attempt to live life earnestly. So the late 19th century British people gradually become hypocritical in their fashionable and faddish struggle to obtain the ideals of earnestness. So again, people were agreed to do everything. They were fashionable towards this term earnestness. And let me tell you one thing more, that When you practice any idea, even though any wrong idea in a society, first of all, it will be considered as taboo, a restricted thing in the society. But after that, when everyone will keep on celebrating that idea or celebrating that thing, that will become a custom, that will become a part of the culture, that will become a tradition. And then, if you just do so in front of the people, then no one cares about. Everyone will be just appreciating you. Everyone will be just ignoring you if you do that, because that has become a custom, a component of the culture. And this happened in the Victorian era. That the name of Ernest, the duality, the hypocrisy, it has become the trend for every elite class person. And then they enjoyed it. They never cared about. So it was the writers and the playwrights of that time, that they actually showed the mirror to the people, to elite classes, that what are you doing, this is wrong, this is not good and better for the society. So that is the reason that they have actually asked them to change themselves, to reform themselves, because this is totally, I would say, detestable. This is totally hateable. You cannot do the same. You cannot live with this anymore. So you have to do something that will be reforming you, that will be changing you entirely, according to the codes, according to the code and ethic of the society, of the culture, and of the religion. So this is what our society is all about. So we have then, let me take one sip of water. Okay, so we have then selfishness. These are some of the characteristics of these people. Unnecessary pride. Yes, pride is good thing, but you do not need to take unnecessary pride. Then the false sense of self-worth. So this is what you can say, that idiosyncrasy. Idiosyncrasy is also that you are just likening yourself. It is a kind of self-admiration, and you do not care about anything else. But you are just feeling yourself as self-worth, as self-valued, and dangerous. Haughtiness developed as evils which corroded the simple charm of life. So this haughtiness, it also, and entirely, corroded means gradually destroying something. So it destroyed the simple charm of life from the Victorian society, just with these things like the dangerous haughtiness, self-worth, false sense of self-worth, unnecessary pride, selfishness. So it actually destroyed the society gradually. The Victorian society was outwardly flowery. It seems like from the outer side as it is like a flower, or it is like it is a decorative form. It was artificial and hollow within, but it was totally empty from the within, from the inside. And it was artificial inside. In a nutshell, it can easily be compressed in simple words that the play is not a comedy play at all, but it has the seriousness included in it. Critics rightly argued that Oscar Wilde's plays were also for the serious people. So it is not only the comedy that we are actually looking at the characters, looking at the events, and we are enjoying only because it entertains you. This is not the purpose. The purpose is actually that you have to just pick some relevant and some serious meanings out of that play. And those things will be changing the life of the society, the life of the people. Otherwise, this is not meant to be only for the entertainment or for the amusement of the people. Okay, then I think that we are, yeah, here we go. So then, what is the full title? This is some information related to the play. The importance of being earnest, a trivial comedy for serious people. So this is the full title of this play. The importance of being earnest, a trivial comedy for serious people. Author is Oscar Wilde. The type of play is The type of work is play. Genre is a social comedy, comedy of manners, satire, intellectual farce. Language is English. Time and place. It was written in 1894 in Worthing, England. Then date of first production 14th February 1895. Then publisher is L. Smithers. What is the tone? The tone of this is light, scintillating, and a percent. Then the deceptively flippant. So these are the tones of. It means that they are not sharp tones. They are, I would say, that light. They are scintillating, and they are effervescent and deceptively flippant, like easy to understand and not sharp and pointy. That will be actually destroying the people, the lives of the people. No, they are in, I would say, that light-hearted. The setting is 1890s. The setting is London. The Act One is actually in the Hertfordshire and a rural county not far from the London. So this is the setting and the whole information about the play. Okay, now we have the protagonist. That who is the protagonist of this play? Okay, but before that, before starting this, I just need to know that if you have to ask anything, you can ask me right now, so that you can we may uh, do our things. We may understand that what was context about. If you have anything to ask related to the background, related to the context, you can ask me right now, so that we can then talk about the play, the characteristics of the play, the characters of the play, then the setting of the play, then the major themes of the play. Yes, anything to ask? No? My students cannot be.
I'm sir. I'm
Yes,
asking, will we read text of the play in the class?
I'm not getting your voice.
So I'm saying that will we read the text of this play in class?
What should I do?
I'm asking that will we read the text of this play? I mean, the importance of being earnest in our class by you.
Yes, definitely. Why don't we? Because we have to read that, and we will read that the text, the whole text in the classroom. And certainly, if university does not open on 28 March, then we will be continuing on the PDF forms. So I'll be sharing a PDF of the text, and then you will be opening your PDF and on your laptops and mobile phone, and then we'll be reading the text. Okay, so we are just going to talk about more. So the protagonist is John Worthing. Okay, did someone send a message? Okay, so this is all about, I would say that the story centers and revolves around one protagonist, one main character, that is John Worthing. He is known as Ernest by his friends in town in London, and as Jack by his friends and relations in the countryside. So he is John Ernest, Jack Ernest, I would say, and Ernest is a name. John Ernest is a name that is known by the town people, by the Londoners, and on the other side, he is Jack for his family, for his friends, and for his relatives in the countryside. Now, what is the major conflict actually that the story revolves around? The major conflict is actually Jack faces many obstacles to his romantic union with Gwendolyn. So Gwendolyn, she is a beautiful lady, and she is cousin to Algernon Moncrief. He is another, I would say, that second hero Jack. After Jack, he's second hero, and he is cousin to Gwendolyn. And Gwendolyn is interested in Jack just because of his name, because his name is Ernest and he used his name Ernest in the town. So Gwendolyn is only prone towards Jack Ernest because of his name Ernest. So she is not interested in Jack. Also, she is not interested whether he is handsome, whether he is not. But he is actually liked by Gwendolyn only for his name Ernest. And when Jack's origins, so one obstacle is presented by Lady Bracknell, who objects to what she refers to as Jack's origins. So now, Lady Bracknell, she is actually aunt to Gwendolyn and sorry, not aunt to Gwendolyn, aunt to Algernon, and she is the mother of Gwendolyn. Lady Bracknell is mother to Gwendolyn, and Lady Bracknell is aunt to Algernon, who is the second hero in the play. She is concerned about the origins, the background of Jack Worthing, because she has already interviewed, I would say that a couple of people already, the suitor for Gwendolyn, for her daughter. She has already interviewed them, and she didn't like any of them because they were handsome, but they did not have enough wealth. That is the reason they did not belong to the elite class as she belonged to. So she rejected all of them. And now, as you see that Gwendolyn, she actually fall in love with Jack, but where she only falls in love for the firstly with the name Ernest and then with Jack. On the other side, Lady Bracknell, she was very conscious about the background of Jack. So she actually asked a couple of questions to Jack, that who is he, and he belongs to which country, he belongs to which status. So she asked a couple of questions. So this is the second conflict. Another obstacle is Gwendolyn's obsession with the name Ernest, since she does not know Jack's real name. So she does not concern about Jack's real name, but she is interested in Ernest. It means that how conscious they were about the name of Ernest, like that if a man who comes from a village, from the town, if that person associates with his name as Ernest, so that person is also accepted. Okay, that person is also accepted by the elite class. So we can say that this is all about the conflicts in the play. The first conflict is that we can say that Jack faces that his romantic union is important with Gwendolyn, so that is the reason he uses the name Ernest. The second is that Lady Bracknell, she is interested to know about the background of Jack. The third is that Gwendolyn's obsession with the name Ernest. The name is the reason that she actually got interested in the name of the Ernest and in the love of of Jack. Then what is the rising action? Algernon, who is actually another leading, I would say that playing a leading role after Jack, and he is also cousin to Gwendolyn, and he is a nephew of Aunt or Lady Bracknell. Algernon discovers that Jack is leading a double life and that he has pretty young ward named Cicely. So Algernon, he is a man who knows about Jack's real, I would say, background, Jack's real name. He knows about Jack's real identity. After some time, when he was actually going through the biography of Jack, but when he went to discover more about Jack's identity in the village where Jack was living, so Algernon also falls in love with Cicely. Cicely, she is a ward to Jack, a ward, a kind of warden, you can say, a ward to Jack. So he, Algernon, falls in love with Cicely Cardew. So now you see that how this triangle is actually made. Jack falls in love with the cousin of Algernon. Algernon falls in love with the ward of Jack. Now, the revelation of Jack's origins causes Lady Bracknell to forbid his union with Gwendolyn. So, when Lady Bracknell comes to know about the real background, the real identity of Jack, so she rejected not to wrote need to rejected not to reunite or unite with Gwendolyn. She refused that I'm not fine with this because he belongs to the town. He does not have his real name, Ernest. So she refused. But identifying himself as Ernest, Algernon visits Jack's house in the country and falls in love with Cicely. So Algernon on the other side. So now you have to see like this bond is created strongly that Algernon on the one side, if he withdraws, what will happen? That he will lose Cicely Cardew. On the other side, if Jack withdraws from the love of Gwendolyn, then Algernon also has to withdraw. So they both will lose their love. And that is the reason that they try to compensate and they were more inquisitive into that matter. So what happens next? What is the climax? Gwendolyn and Cicely discover that both Jack and Algernon have been lying to them and that neither is really named Ernest. So they actually, Gwendolyn and Cicely, they both reached at a conclusion that both the boys like Jack and on the other side Algernon, they both are lying to them. They do not have the real name Ernest associated with their names. So this was the climax. And what is the falling action? Miss Prism is revealed to be the governess who mistakenly abandoned Jack as a baby, and Jack is discovered to be Algernon's elder brother. But what happens next? The boundary or the demarcation is actually broken by the revelation of Miss Prism. She is actually the warden of what was the name? Cicely Cardew. She is the warden of Cicely Cardew, and she is not the real mother or real aunt of. She is not the real mother of Jack, and she has actually taken Jack from the railway station, I suppose. She has picked Jack from the railway station. And when he comes to know about the real identity of Jack, so Jack comes to know, Lady Bracknell comes to know about the past because she has also lost a baby at the railway station. And that baby boy was adopted by Miss Prism because there was no around that baby that was in the basket, and she took that baby, she brought that baby in the house, and then Jack was actually grown up there. And then you will see that ultimately it is known that Jack and on the other side Algernon, they were both brothers. They were both real brothers. And then Lady Bracknell, she was also satisfied with this, with this idea that okay, she has lost a baby, a baby of her sister a long time ago at the railway station or somewhere else. So this is the same baby, and Jack Worthing is not Jack Worthing, rather Jack is Ernest in real sense. So that was, I would say, that the rising action from it. And we have some important characters to discuss, and if you wish so that we can discuss right now, because I think that you have already taken too much But if you feel so that we must be discussing all the important characters in the next class, then we can also do that. So, what's your suggestion? Hello, everyone.
In the next class,
Oh, wow. And what about the others? Hmm. Yeah, I knew that.
sir, I have some
Some questions. Hmm. What are they?
a few questions.
Okay. Go on.
So my first question is that in the theaters, the actors used to criticize the elite classes, and they were sitting in front of them. So why they were allowing them to make fun of themselves? I mean, I have seen the sitting plan of this the theaters of this age. So the elite class used to sit in front of the stage. So they were seeing that those actors are actually making fun of them. So why they were allowing to them to do so?
In the satire, the language is not easy and simple, I would say, that gives you the plain meanings of the text or for any situation. The meanings are in literature, the words, the meanings, the situations are all the time in the hidden sense that they can feel so, but they cannot think that okay, this is all about us. Might be if it is all about them, so they have to, because the situations are presented in a way so that the people may know about themselves. You know that this is a famous genre of literature. Like in allegory, it happens the same. If you read George Orwell's Animal Farm, that is not about the animals, that is about the human beings, if you just pick the real sense of the text. So similarly, the situations are presented just to make the people that this is all about you, so that they may know about their follies, because they have totally forgot about their selves. They have totally forgot about that what they are. It's just to make them realize this is the duty of the playwrights, to mirror them that this is the thing and these are the things that you are doing in the society. And definitely they are sensible enough. If they are sensible enough, then they will definitely get something out of it and they will try to do so. And if they don't do that, it means that the writer's duty was only to show them the right path. And if they don't oblige that, so it's up to them totally. Okay, so this is actually that they are mirroring the society, mirroring the people, and if they were allowed to sit over there and to see their follies in, not I would say in clear meanings and clear words, but they have only some hints and they have only some with the symbolic language with some clues about their self that this is what they are doing in their daily lives.
So that was not all about the elite class.
It was about the elite class.
So why they were not going to realize that what is actually happening in front of them? They were actually there are two types of comedies. In first one, the characters used to make over and used to wear the dresses which makes them funny, like for example, dress of the Joker. And but in this type of comedy, the characters used to wear the well cleaned dresses, but satire through the dialogues. So this thing is clearly showing that they were representing the elite class and they were making fun of the elite class.
Hmm. I didn't say that they are not representing the elite class. They were representing the elite
Making
class.
fun of us.
Okay, I think your voice is broken, but I got your punch. They were representing the elite class, and ultimately the elite class have to do something related, because sometimes when you are actually doing something wrong for a long period of time, and then you are totally blindfolded, you cannot see in the actual sense that what you are doing until or unless you are realized by someone that this is what you have been doing. So this happened with them, that they were totally numb, they were totally fool, not to recognize, not to identify their foolies, not to identify their because as I've already told that when something is something not acceptable in the society, any idea that is not acceptable for the first time in the society, if you introduce that, society will not accept that, but gradually it will become a custom, and after custom no one will realize that this is wrong. Similarly, we see that with the elite class, that idea about themselves, it has become a custom, and it has become a tradition of the elite class, and they do not know anything about themselves because there is no one to tell them what to do, because they are never been recognized. So then that is the reason that the playwrights took this responsibility to show them that this is what they are doing in the society, and it is now up to them. Because if writer is saying something, poet is saying something, it is up to the people whether to accept that poet or whether not. We have every type of, you can say, writers, the good writers and the bad writers. Some people they encourage the bad deeds also. Some people who actually encourage the good deeds also. So we can say that it is the responsibility of the writer to tell them what they are doing, what they have been doing, and they stop doing these things anymore. So this is a light critique, a satire, a light-hearted satire for the people. So they internally they may know that yeah, this is wrong and we must not do that. So this is a mind-making technique of the writer through the genre of satire, and many of them they were successful in that.
Yes, sir, I got it. The second question is that after the Puritan age, the people were very close to their religions, and after just starting the Restoration age, they were used to read the French literature, which was full of lust. So how they can move towards such lusty things of just after being close with the religion?
I would say that that is the best time to do so. You see that when you are, yeah, when you are imprisoned, and when you are coming out of the prison one day, and then you are feeling everything with detail, like you are going in the air, you are feeling it, you are just feeling the independence, you are feeling the liberty, you are doing some even the foolish things, because sometimes you couldn't do that in the past, in some years ago, but if you have the chance to do so, that you will repeat it, you will do that again. Like sometimes I feel so when I'm in the city, in the Lahore, like I feel so that when I'll be going to my village, I'll be going to the fields, I'll be holding the land in my hand, and I will feel it. I will go to there, I will go to there, I will sit with the farmers, I will eat with them. So like this is my sense, because you are, if you're far from that village for so long, that you feel that okay, you have to go over there, because that is your route. So similarly, because you are free to do anything what you like, so if you are from that prison, and then you have enough liberty because you are not doing that thing anymore. You are free to do. And I would say that 80% desires of an individual overwhelms over the other faculties of the society, like the social, cultural, historical, religious, all those. So the desires are more important other than the other faculties of the social, I would say, agendas. So that is the reason that man, if man is free, so that man will take advantage of that freedom. That is the reason that in the Puritan, if the ideals were so strict, the rule and regulations were so strict, people were not actually, I would say, encouraged to follow those rules. People were forced to follow those rules. If they were forced, so they are not doing, or they are not following the Puritan rules and regulation with their consent. Rather, they are following those with the enforcement of the religion. And people are feeling comfortable when they have no compulsion on them. Then they are free. Otherwise, Puritans have actually forced them to follow those rules. So that is the main reason. And in this after Puritan in 1660, after in the reign of Charles II, so people become independent and they have to do whatever they want. So this is the main reason.
Okay, sir. Thank you. Got it. I got my point.
Okay. Yes, anyone else? No questions at all? Okay.
No, sir.
Wow. My students cannot be, I would say that, too much clear about anything. Wow. That's good. Okay, so we are now ending our today's class. And if you have to ask any question, you can keep it. And then we will be definitely in the next class studying the text, the characters first, and then we'll be studying the text. And then you can also ask questions in that uh, class also. So till then, take care of yourself and your family. Bye bye.
Hello, officer.